Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, my name is Resonance22, and today I have the honor of co-casting with Nilpferd for the King of the Hippo 4 Tournament Qualifier number 4. This is going to be a 6-player free-for-all King of the Hill game, played on the Wolo Kingdoms Voobly mod, which means that these players will have access to the new Age of Empires 2 expansion civilizations and balance changes as found on Steam. For those of you who watch this later on my YouTube channel, you can find links to Nilpferd's pages in the video description below. Thank you so much for having me today, Nilpferd. Would you like to do the honors of introducing the players?
Well, great for having you here. Yeah, so we will have 8 different qualifiers here. This is a low qualifier, all with 6 players, and they're trying to fight for a monument here in the middle. We will see a countdown in the very top right going down, and every time it goes to 100 and the player switches, it goes up to 100 again. So sniping the monument in the end is not an option. We will have Tom playing the Huns. We will have Cheatah playing in the purple trunks here, playing the Slavs. And we will have a very difficult name for me, a Spanish guy. I won't try it, in the red trunks, playing the Japanese. We will have only Aoe2 with the Mongols here in yellow. We have Granisss with the Slavs, and DerEsser from Switzerland, playing the Slavs as well.
Ooh, double. Wait, triple Slavs, right?
Yeah, you were allowed to choose out of the 4 civilizations: Slav, Huns, Japanese, and Mongols here.
Ah, very fascinating indeed. Now, of course, the map today is Golden Pit, everybody, and this means that most of the gold is in the middle of the map. You can kind of think of it as a reversed gold rush. But what's particularly interesting about Golden Pit is that normally on Gold Rush, you have the benefit of being on a higher elevation than your opponent, so your units deal more damage, and they take reduced damage in your buildings as well. But here, the dynamic is reversed. Being on the low ground can be quite unfortunate, but there are no wolves to balance it out. This means that this particular King of the Hill game, while I expect it to have plenty of twists and turns, once you get control of the middle, you have access to all these additional resources, so the game might not drag on for several hours, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is an interesting decision what civilization you want to go for. Onlu, I believe, if he gets onto Elite Mangudai siege onagers, he has the strongest army of them all. But it is tough to control the middle and get all the gold and stone. And if he loses his castles, he's basically stuck with very weak units here in late Imperial Age.
That he is. The 4 civilizations that we have that they could pick from, as Nilpferd just said earlier, is the Slavs, Japanese, Huns, and Mongols. I feel these are all fairly good civilizations. The Slavs are, of course, it looks like the popular pick of the day. The Slavs have just a pretty nice, well-rounded set of bonuses. 15% faster farming in their early game can be quite nice. The Boyar is a reasonably strong situational unit. It's like a paladin-esque unit that's better versus melee units, weaker versus ranged. This civ has excellent late game too, with Druzhina actually giving their infantry units a slight area of effect attack damage. I like this civ overall. They're somewhat comparable to the Celts, I believe, in both civilization strengths and tech tree.
Yeah, absolutely love them, especially how good the siege is as well there. Will be pretty tough for Mangudai. Huns, very one-dimensional there as well, with paladins and heavy CA. I don't see them having the biggest firepower, but obviously the best boom, early great control. And if, yeah, you can go with the Huns and control lots of the gold and can get to paladins when others can't, you might have a big advantage here.
Definitely indeed. One of the things that gives the Huns such a strong early game economy is that they don't have to build houses, so that allows you to save a lot of wood. Even though they start with less wood, that really adds up over the course of the game when you think of how many houses you actually build. And yeah, like you said as well, the Huns, super binary civilization, just heavy mounted units. Mongols have a great early game too with the 50% faster hunting, and I feel like the Japanese are a civilization that are just kind of underrated in general. They're pretty solid. Alejandro, he gets to save 50 wood every time he builds a lumber camp and a mill. That helps out quite a bit, and they got a fairly well-rounded tech tree.
Yeah, especially now with the expansions, suddenly having bloodlines there helping them out so much in the trash wars. The light cav very strong suddenly, and I love that addition for them. They felt very one-dimensional before, but now they can really, yeah, go into the trash wars quite efficiently.
Yeah, I'd say they're one of the strongest civs in the late game as far as trash wars go. I mean, we have a lot of insane contenders now with the expansions, but 25% faster attack speed on your infantry is pretty damn good, especially when we're dealing with massive attack bonuses like the Halberdier unit does have, and Bloodlines really rounds out this civilization. So, Nilpferd, this is a free-for-all King of the Hill game. What kind of strategies do you expect to see from the players here today?
Obviously, normally, like going for a drush or a flush towards the middle is not really a viable option, so people decide to boom, maybe do some castle age aggression. Normally, you see people laying back quite a bit and only attack for the monument extremely late, but I try to avoid that by making it a 6-player only, so the timer isn't that high. So I feel like an early imp attack should be the way to go here.
Yeah, you usually can end up in a situation where if you go all in on one of your opponents nearby and you really commit to some early game aggression, you can really end up screwing yourself in the long run, because you have to think long term in these King of the Hill games. You have to try and set yourself up so that you're in the best individual position possible, and that you, like, if you drop a castle on the guy to your left, what's going to stop the guy from your right from just coming into your base and killing you? So these players have to be very careful with what resources they spend, particularly on a map like Golden Pit, where the gold is very, very limited, so taking strategic fights will end up being the decisive factor in this game. Everybody on their way up to the Feudal Age, of course, we'd expect the Mongol civilization to be one of the first people there, but he is not. Actually opting to go up on 26 population for the more standard fast castle blacksmith market.
Yeah, so blue and green actually going for double decks, and they're going for scouts. So we did say flash not the best strategy here, but they will go for it. And as we saw in the game before, if someone is trying to go for a very safe fast castle here, not thinking about any feudal attacks, and is getting the flash in, you can die horribly.
Yeah, that you can. Looks like they're going for scouts, though, because scouts are fast, right? It's a great way to get some early map control, and the mobility makes it less of a risk if you were going for something like archers, and then you get caught without having any archers in your base. But it is interesting to see that quite a few players are going for some fairly powerful early aggression. I mean, blue with the scale barding armor as well, really going to try and commit to some raiding. This will help him out quite a bit when he's tanking those town center arrow shots, and ooh, yellow even grabbing the gold mining upgrade, and he's about to get raided by some scouts.
Yeah, but nice walling there, seeing the scouts quite early on. And yeah, teal walling his resources as well. Blue showing that he went for the defensive upgrade. So yeah, Tom knowing what's up and try to prepare for it quite nicely. Isn't going for a pikeman though, which I would absolutely love.
So one thing I just realized is that the way I have my overlay set up, it might be very difficult for people to see the monument timer because it's kind of overlapping with all the researches. So my bad on that one. Yeah. Yellow going to lose quite a few villagers here, and one of the main reasons why he's getting owned so hard is because he doesn't have loom. That's one of the ways that you can gain an early economic lead, by delaying that loom upgrade just a little bit to have one extra villager, essentially, but that means that the scouts just murder you. They get an additional 2 attack in the Feudal Age, so they can pick you off in 5 hits without loom. So, Ornlu's fast castle age, it's going to be severely weakened after the loss of so many villagers. And meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, Tom getting raided as well, but he's in the castle age too.
And he had Loom for the change, had already archery rangers. The problem for Onlu was he went up with Market and Blacksmith, so no real defense there. And the scouts did find a bit of a better engagement. Let's take a look, but now the Spearman is going down, and DerEsser, even with Bloodlines, so he's continuing his rampage.
That he is. I really like grabbing bloodlines when you're committing to these kind of early scout raids and you really want to make a lot of scouts, because it means that the scout takes an additional 1 hit to kill. It goes from 3 to 4 hits from a spearman. Spearman is such a hard counter to that unit. Tom going to be able to defend himself successfully with some cavalry archers. He's got the fletching upgrade, double ranges. I like that opening a little bit more than Ornlu's. Ornlu's very greedy and risky. Not having an early barracks leaves you so susceptible. As well as not having loom. So he's going to put down a secondary TC and just try and boom this off. But will he be able to do that is the question.
Well, for now, it seems like most of his villagers are super safe. The gold villagers are walled in, the rest of the villagers close to TC. He only has one farm, so his eco isn't the greatest, and the villager production won't really roll. But I think he won't lose a lot more villagers.
So he got that gold mining upgrade really early, right? And he, like you said, he has very, very few farms. So I'm wondering exactly what that early gold mining tech was for. Maybe trying to boom up while going for defensive monks, or he... I feel like he should use the market, maybe buy 100 food or something like that to sustain villager production. Otherwise, his fast castle age is going to be quite weak on the eco side of things, but he's going to get a third TC very early. There we go! He's buying the 100 food, balancing his eco out, and meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, Tom's got to defend against this blue scout aggression, and it looks like he'll be able to hold on just fine.
And the evil thing is, Granisss went for the very annoying scouts, but had a solid castle age timing behind that. So now he can go for the nitrate, is heavily on stone as well. So I believe the aggression will continue into the face of Onlo here.
Yeah, that it will. I wonder if he'll be able to hold on, but as you just mentioned, his town center placement is pretty solid. It protects his stone mine, it protects his gold mine. He built some palisade walls as well to restrict the mobility of the enemy scouts. Granisss does have bloodlines on his own scouts as well, and really, I think all eyes right now should be on blue. How much resources does he have in the bank? Because he's got to get to the castle age fairly soon. He's about half of the way there. I probably expect him to transition into knights, but you know, having a castle time this slow does definitely make you fall behind the villagers.
Well, he's sending a villager towards the middle now, trying to get some piece of that juicy gold, and actually he is the first one to ever go towards the middle except the scouts, so his CC that we will most likely see in the middle will actually be the first one. He has a 21-minute mark, something I personally didn't expect.
Yeah, this is very early to send a villager towards the middle, but it looks like he's just dropping down an outpost for some vision. What do you think, Nilpferd, about players going for the gold in the middle? When do you think they should usually go for that?
Normally, I would have expected people to go way earlier there, and I believe if this was a high qualifier, we would see like lots of monks there already, people trying to go for the gold. The approach, for example, for MBL is always to go for the middle there as well, because you only have 2 tiles of gold, or like 2 gold spots, 1 2 tile, 1 3 tile. That is a complete of 4,000 gold, so not a lot to really work with.
Especially when you factor in the amount of gold you just have to spend on generic upgrades. The Imperial Age alone is 800 gold in itself. That's a full tile. So these players have to be very careful here with how they spend their resources. Blue going to be dropping down another outpost for some vision, taking out an opposing scout, building a forward monastery. Grabbing the relics can be quite useful here considering how limited the gold actually is on this map, so I do like to see that. But there are a bunch of scouts floating around, so he has to be careful about protecting his monks. And yeah, no one really going for the middle yet. Teal with a very large army of cavalry archers. And it looks like we're at a little bit of a standstill.
Yeah, at the moment, still very peaceful. Especially purple here, having a KD of 0-0. And red not having a single kill as well. So people are pretty defensive. And look at that. DerEsser, the blue player here, actually researching M&A upgrade. I'm a bit surprised by that. Is he trying to go for a champ rush here?
Whoa, that's pretty sick. He's actually grabbing all the upgrades. This guy's just researching everything. He's got light cat, he's got husbandry, long swordsman. Now, one of my generic pieces of advice I like to give players when they're really new to a game is if you don't know what to research, just make sure you're actually researching things. Get your upgrades. But in this case, of course, his build's not very coherent. He's just getting a little bit of everything. And in the early game, you just don't have the money to research all those upgrades. You kind of have to branch out later on. But it looks like he'll be ready for any situation. Or will he? Because that's a lot of cavalry archers, and he doesn't have the units for this.
Yeah, and now adding some scorpions. So
whoa,
yeah,
sanctity!
It seems like he watched your videos and is really going for everything. And that will be an army that you normally see at the back of the Age of Empires 2 package.
I know, right? This is absolutely crazy. I don't recommend grabbing all the techs until you got the cash to use them. I think that they should wait until, you know, the Imperial Age to start pressing all the buttons, but in the early game, you need a focused build, and this is not one. Good news is, though, his army is fairly well balanced, so it will be difficult to counter, and he is making units that are strong for his civilization. But I just like the mass Huns Cavalry Archers. That's a focused build early on, and the reason the focused builds early on work so well is because your opponent, like, you only have enough resources to tech into one thing, usually, and it could be hard. In the later stages of the game, that's when that army becomes easier to counter. But right now, I mean, that's a threatening force.
Well, he's not trying to attack at the moment. He's just trying to protect his gold spots. And yeah, for now, DerEsser can go for all his Scorpion mass. And now he's going for the defense upgrade as well. What is this? Nilpferd man production is starting.
This will put him significantly behind in the early game, but we have to keep in mind that a lot of the lower-rated players in Age of Empires 2 often just don't get any upgrades at all, ever. So, he's playing the long game right now. Get all the upgrades now, that way he won't forget them later, and then maybe in the Imperial Age his opponents will have completely unupgraded spearmen. We'll have to see how that turns out. On the top side of the map, Alejandro going to be putting down a defensive castle to protect his gold mine. He's got a town center there. What's interesting about Golden Pit compared to Gold Rush is that the castles that you put in the middle are significantly more vulnerable to trebuchets. And, oh, Tom really loves those outposts, doesn't he? As well as Blue. Blue going to do a little bit of raiding on one of Tom's gold mines, so Tom's going to have to be careful. The Scorpions are coming, and they cost less.
Yeah, let's see how he can produce that. And actually, he's blocking the other gold spots now. CA coming over, and they aren't great against all those Scorpions, even getting debated in here by the Knights, who have nice amount of defensive armor, obviously, since he clicked all the upgrades. And that was 4 CAs for nothing.
You know, we might poke fun at his extremely diverse build, but you know, it's 29 minutes in the game. He's got some cash. This is a difficult army to counter. And now Tom, I mean, without the defense upgrades, he's only got padded archer armor and no bloodlines. Those Scorpions are pretty good. And he's even thrown in some rams. I mean, this is some AI level strategy here. Quite difficult to deal with. Now, Green doing some raiding. There's always a hole in the wall, of course. The small tree is not very important for that, but Granisss is going to pull out, and looks like Alejandro with a bunch of samurai in the mix. That's going to be cool, but...
Hey, got a Slavs player in the blue trunks here now going for another castle. They're losing a lot of Scorpions at the front, though. Oh, that's not too great, but he's booming in the back as well, raiding at the same time, so he's super active at the moment. And just think about it, if Tom is losing that gold there in the middle and is not accessing his second gold spot, what can he really do with the Huns?
Not too much. The Huns are very limited civilization in the things they can do. When you're playing the Huns, you've got a couple options. One, is it on a horse? It's probably great. Is it a siege ram? It's probably fine. Does it not cost gold as a trash unit? It's good too. But besides that, the longer the game goes on, the fewer options the Huns really have. Like, their monks, for example, don't have any longevity to them, and they're one of the few civs in the game that does not have access to the Onager upgrade on their siege weapons, and... You know, at least he's got a wide variety of decent trash units at his disposal, but map control is going to be vital for this Huns player. He's got it so far. He's adding in some knights. Ton of upgrades coming out from everybody, and Cheatah, first player in the Imperial Age, completely untouched the entire game.
Yeah, he lost his scout there, but still without a single kill. So is Red, by the way. And now he's going for, what is it, Halberdier attack there with the Slavs?
All right. So I guess what he's going for here is mass value, is what I imagine it is. Gold is so very, 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 very valuable that get that Druzhina technology, start massing up some halves, conserve as much gold as possible. I think this is an incredibly weak opening, but eventually it will pay off. He is grabbing Halberdier now. I mean, he might be able to get away with this, but... no king rules forever. He's going to need control of the middle of the map if he wants to win the game, as mass Halberdiers will not be good enough on their own.
Well, let's see what he will add on the siege side there. Maybe some scorpions as well. Could be an option. Green is still very active with all his scouts around. And red has a nice piece of the middle here, going for his samurai attack. Will reach Imperial Age any second now as well. And then we will slowly see how players will develop towards the monument.
The mass samurai strategy is definitely an interesting one, as they will probably shred right through most of the Halberdiers, which are going to kind of dominate this game, considering we have 3 Slavs. But I do worry a little bit about mass samurai. I mean, they have an attack bonus versus things like elite Mangudai, but the Mangudai can certainly kite them with some good micro. And there are a lot of units in this game that are quite weak to scorpions. Poor Tom, I feel like he has just been... he's a little bit behind economically, right? He's at 77 population, and I think that as a result, he is just getting overwhelmed by Blue's balanced army. He's really making scorpions look good with this pass-through damage.
Oh, balanced army indeed, yeah. He's building like 6 different units and still has some longsword men and knight around that aren't actually fighting, but he's, yeah, just focusing down those monks and loses all his CAs in exchange. And suddenly he is still at 30 military, but he lost 20 of it at the front and didn't kill that much.
I mean, this kind of like balanced army research everything strategy works really well at a low level, but it does not work very well at a high level. But here, it's paying dividends. Oh, here comes the... Nilpferd, I see some guard towers from red. Do you think he's going to grab that Yasama and Arrow Slits upgrades?
Yeah, he absolutely has to. Like, that has to be something that has to go through his mind when picking the Japanese there. And just mass arrows, they're so much better than the castles, and you can spread them out, and so many arrows in the air then.
Oh yeah, it's a really interesting technology. For those of you who are not familiar with those sets of upgrades, I don't blame you, so let me explain. Arrow Slits is a technology added in the Steam expansions that makes your guard towers, keeps, and watchtowers deal additional damage. And then Yasama is one of the Japanese new unique technologies that makes their keeps fire additional arrows, or keeps guard towers and watchtowers. So with that, you get some kind of ghetto mini castle action. It's okay. However, when you're playing on a map like King of the Hill and Golden Pit, where map control is super important and you just need to protect your gold, it can actually be pretty sick, like Nilpferd said. And here comes the samurai. I expect them to shred right through these halves.
Yeah, especially with all those arrows, and as we can see, he already has attack, and now like 6 arrows of 3 towers just throwing in there. The Halberdiers just going in, but did he lose a single samurai? I'm not even sure. That was just so one-sided. Look at the KD of purple now, 3-51.
That's the power of the elite samurai. Spirit of the Law wins again. This unit is so sick in melee combat. It really is due to its insanely high attack speed. And yeah, the Halberdiers, you're saving some cash money here. You're getting a little bit of value. The AoE damage is great, but you need some scorpions or something here. I'd say make some boyars to deal with the infantry, but not against the elite samurai, you don't. Champions are okay, I think, versus the elite samurai, because they do the cleave damage, but I'd like to see some heavy scorpions, a phrase I don't say that often, but I would like to see them this time.
Wow, but with what gold? He only had 4
true.
gold, we pointed that out earlier. And he already invested a lot in the tag there, so I don't really see him going for it. Market prices, let's take a look at those. 36 for food, 14 for wood, so that's not really where you can get mass gold from.
Indeed, and that is why he's going for champions, because champions are the lowest gold cost, best unit for this specific situation. They're going to trade okay with the elite samurai. It's only 20 gold apiece, but purple's kind of in dire straits here. The Slavs have okay trash units, but you just do not want to deal with this mass elite samurai army backed by these keeps with 8+5 attack, and they're all firing additional arrows. That's some seriously powerful map control. What a weird strategy. Love to see it.
Yeah, at the moment, teal and red, the only ones who really get excess of the gold, but yeah, red is getting punished for it, being downhill here, and yellow is building quite a strong army. Won't really increase that army strength too much, though, having no gold income at the moment.
Indeed, but he's grabbing that Siege Engineer's upgrade, which will allow him to blow up these castles quicker and have an additional 1 range on his siege units. So this is when, normally, we would assume the game is over, and red has such definitive map control in the middle, such a decisive lead, it'll be very difficult to remove him. But yellow might be able to dislodge him indeed because of the hill advantage that he has. He's putting down what I consider to be a bold castle, right in range of red's current one. He has to be very careful with his unit control because everybody in this game has halbs, and even though Elite Mangudai can beat the halbs, you gotta back them up, so we'll see his micro.
Yeah, they're great if you can hit and run, but once they close a distance, they still do lots of damage there. So, and especially if you don't have any gold income, you really want to babysit them at all times there. And he's doing that for now.
Yeah, well, we got some big battles going on in the middle. Green's got a very different approach to the Slavs compared to everyone else, mixing in some onagers, and he's going for the Cavaliers. Now, it's interesting. You know, the Cavaliers are significantly better versus the Samurai than the Boyars are, even though the Boyars have better melee armor just because these Cavaliers aren't unique units. And the Cavaliers are quite good against Yellow's army. And we see this being reflected here as Yellow has to pull back. Forced to make some pikemen. The Mongols don't get Halberdiers, thank God. One of the many things that stops them from being even stronger than they actually are. And Green with a fairly decisive win here, but I do think that he has to pull back, otherwise he's just going to take so much damage. And meanwhile, on the bottom side, heavy Scorpions down for blue. He's got the champions, he's got some trebbing action going on. He's making everything.
Yeah, but he's not going for the middle. And, yeah, as I'm saying this, he's sending a dozen of villages over, trying to get some of that juicy gold of the middle, and that looks very uncontested, even building a castle there. So he's trying to put himself down there, and he wants to stay there as well.
And the bottom side of this golden pit is pretty much unoccupied almost entirely, which is going to be absolutely excellent for blue. I feel like the Slavs as a civ, yeah, they can survive without gold, but everyone loves their cash money, right? And he's going to definitely be able to take great advantage of that with his powerful arsenal of siege weapons, being able to massive champions, just conserving gold for the long run. Purple was a really big gambit there, you know, playing so defensively early on, not going for the middle, opening up with the mass halbs. It really would have paid off if he just didn't end up running straight into a mass army of samurai. It's going to be very difficult for him to claw his way back. And right now, Tom just a little bit behind economically, but he is still holding on.
Well, he just reached Imperial, is now trying to get DerEsser for his CA, but hey, he has no access to the middle at the moment, so that's pretty ugly for him. And yeah, Cheatah's KD is still 20 to 110, so that's not the best. And Red is looking pretty strong, and he is building more and more keeps here.
Yeah, wow. This is looking like the pre-nerf Arrow Slits meta almost. This is quite impressive. Take a look at these 8+6 attack keeps that fire double arrows. So he has really powerful map control in the middle, and it's going to take some combined effort from all these players to treb him off and get him off the center. But poor Purple, you know, he just doesn't have the gold to make these trebs. He's going to need something more than just infantry to dislodge all these buildings.
Yeah, I'm not sure who can really contest this. Look at that. Blue now losing a lot of his Scorpions there. The towers even focusing down all the champions. Those Scorpions have nothing to say in this battle. The champions didn't even hit once. Now they're finally trying to attack. One trap went down, but that was super costly here for blue.
It's that repetitive arrow fire from the keeps that makes them so utterly badass. I mean, they get to deal heavy damage to things like Scorpions, which normally have the Pierce armor to shrug it off. That army just completely melted, and Red, looking oh so powerful, 186 population. The Elite Samurai, too strong.
And switching this point of view and look at his resources, 3k, 6k, wow. 3k there, and pop limit. So, going for the orange attack, I think he's in a great spot to take this whole thing.
Yeah, there's 113 years remaining in the timer. It's not over yet, but man, does Red look powerful. It's going to take a concerted, combined effort from everybody and a lot of trebuchets. But the trebs, I mean, these guys are still kind of fighting each other. I think Yellow and Green need to direct their attention to the Red Menace in the middle of the map, because Blue needs some help.
Yeah, and he's even saying it, please attack Red. And I believe that is what Green and Yellow should really focus on. Because that's not the way how they can, really keep themselves in the run for the whole win. Purple is camping as well. At the moment, really, Red, the guy, can feels like only lose this game.
I don't know why yellow is going for green, but that has to be a colossal misplay. Okay, now he's saying truce green, go for red. Good, 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 because green is not the enemy. The red menace is just out of control. I mean, one of the weaknesses of the elite samurai, of course, is it's just very weak to mass-ranged units, particularly things like heavy scorpions, arbalest, and whatnot. So if you just like to park them underneath some keeps, which fire so many arrows, it's actually really difficult to deal with. And I love the heavy scorpions on the defense as well. Just such a difficult line to break through. This guy's treating his keeps like they're bombard towers, and it's working.
Absolutely, and it's just so tough if you don't have mass amount of traps. Just, yeah, packing them, unpacking them, always new for another keep. Just needs so much time, and yeah, that's time that Red absolutely, can't spend at the moment, and it's ticking for him so heavily.
Tom's selling, oh my god, he's selling all of his resources at the market right about now. So what Green should do is push like a little lower on the map, a little to the left, so he doesn't have to keep walking into yellow's gold miners, and these players need to work together to treb down these towers. Of course, the trebuchets are the answer here because they're the thing that outranges them. It's 11 range versus a whopping 17. It's one of the safest ways to take these down. The siege ram is an okay option, but the elite samurai will shred those, and the keeps actually fire a couple shots. So trebs are going to be the best answer. We're going to need some coordination here. It looks like purple is going to try and raid red. That's with some hussars. Maybe that will buy some time?
Well, it will distract him for sure, but could mean that red even has more population space to build more samurais and halberdiers in the middle. He certainly has the resources. Now yellow pushing in, green as well, so they're finally working together with blue, so they are teaming up quite nicely, but it's only 56 years left here.
Yeah, it's just they need to, yellow and green need to just stop fighting each other, right? It's really easy to move your army a little bit to the left and then try and all engage red at the same time, and it looks like they are doing that now. They are acknowledging that they shouldn't be crippling each other's gold supplies. Red is actually losing control of the middle. Even God's Bleed, his military population and his relative population is high, but it's dropped to about 160. And his villagers, wow, he's losing quite a bit to this raiding. Nilpferd, this is close. He holds the middle, but it's slipping a little.
Well, yeah, his production isn't really on point. Here, let's take a look where all his army is. Yeah, it's still just very far behind. Now trying to send over a lot of halberdiers, but they should be intercepted by the Mangudais. Still only 39 years though, still a lot of keeps around, and I don't see them pushing with enough siege at the moment, but most of the halberdiers are going down. It's getting super close.
It is super close indeed. Red could very well barely lose control of the middle. It's difficult to tell, but right now I'm leaning towards he might just be able to seize this because these players are working together.
It's overextending. Sorry for interrupting, but
no
that's
problem.
just horrible for me.
No, it's no problem whatsoever. You're completely correct. Those Mangudai can't park themselves underneath the keeps. 8+7. Did he just get chemistry or something like that? They're even stronger.
Oh, and purple from the left-hand side now pushing in with all the rams here. That's a beautiful team play move. Red is losing so much.
Yes, finally, purple coming in. He's been biding his time because he's had no cash money. And if there's one thing that you learn in life over time is that having a lot of money just makes life easier. Purple coming out with the siege rams. He's got infantry in them, making them faster and stronger. 17 years remaining. There are still some keeps in the middle. Oh my god, is Red gonna lose control of the middle?
Well, it's only 14 years, but I don't see any more units. He's now sending mass villagers in the middle. It's only 130 years, but in switch, they
boom! Oh god! I bet none of you saw that one coming. For those of you watching on Twitch right now, Red, he looked like he was an unstoppable Japanese machine, but alas, he ends up losing the control of the middle at approximately 14 years remaining, and we've all been there. It sucks. And it's going to be very difficult for him to actually win the game now at this point, considering how many resources he committed and how many enemies he's made.
Yeah, but he's still like, that wasn't the most all-in attempt to hold the middle there I've ever seen. He's still at pop 150, has a good amount of resources, is queuing up more villagers, is still behind stone walls, so he, even after that kind of big throw here, still has a shot to continue in this game.
Yeah, and I think that one of the reasons why he still has a good shot to win this game, compared to, let's say, a normal King of the Hill map, the Golden Pit thing, this means that he's got 4,000 gold in the bank, so Normally, if you invest all this stuff in the middle, you might not have enough gold. But he's got enough gold that maybe he can go long here. We'll have to see. Right now, the control of the middle is kind of firmly divided between all players. Teal really the only person who hasn't been able to contest the middle yet, and that's just because he's been pressured by blue the entire game, and he's just waiting for some upgrades, and he's just out of gold.
Yeah, that's so ugly for him. Blue is now massing up gold, so that's super nice for him. And the big thing for Red, also now licking his wounds, is he lost all his towers and all his castles. Therefore, he's now taking into champions and will not be able to produce more of his sweet elite samurais.
Ah, that's a very great point indeed. Without any stone, I mean, this is going to be a fairly significant downgrade to his army, but it really depends. I mean, it's really nice to have the elite samurai, for example, as a way to disincentivize your opponents from making things like boyars and the Mangudai, of course. But the Japanese champions are no slouches indeed. They also have some great stats to them. I'd attribute a lot of this to Purple's rating as well. I think was a great decision. Cheatah coming out, and no one I think really expected that. And now, Blue's looking like
engagement here. Teal against Blue.
Ooh.
And Blue is patrolling in, but sending back his scorpions. Does not want to lose them.
Yeah, he has to be very careful to conserve those scorpions. I think it's unfortunate for Teal that he just is lacking a lot of upgrades. He doesn't have the money for the heavy cavalry archer, for example. He's missing chemistry. He's missing the second level defense upgrade. And it looks like Blue's going to be forced to retreat a bit.
Yeah, that's true, but getting some sweet raids in at the south as well. But Tom is already ready, and he's still lacking a lot of upgrades here. Oh god, yeah, heavily under-upgraded with all his units. On the other side, we see Blue going for all the upgrades. Actually, the tech route or the approach he took all game long. And finally, maybe Yellow can go for the middle and can get more than a handful Mangudais out.
Yeah, the important thing here to keep in mind for all these players is that besides Blue, there really aren't that many defensive castles or anything in the middle of the map. This gold is potentially mineable for everybody, so he's in a reasonably good position. But on the top side, Purple looks like he's going for Red's throat, ramming through those walls. Here comes the Hussars.
Yeah, and that wall is a bit late, and that will be a lot of dead villagers. 112, and even ringing the bell, something we don't see a lot of top players doing, but could even be the right reaction here, building a lot of defensive champions. Would have loved to see Halberdiers in this case.
Oh, I would have loved to have seen them too, indeed. Now, one of the reasons why people don't usually ring the town bell at a high level in AOC is it makes all of your economy go idle. Generally speaking, you want to garrison just the villagers that are immediately vulnerable and then send them back to work. But in this case, his economy in deep trouble and he just had to react quickly. Purple applying some serious pressure to Red. I wonder if that'll pay off, and meanwhile, Blue and Teal continuing to duke it out in the bottom.
Yeah, they are still fighting, and Purple attacking the main base of Red and the middle at the same time. Rams and Halberdiers used to push there as well, so that's a beautiful two-pronged attack, and Red completely, stumbled here and doesn't really know how to react on both fronts.
The Cheatah finally pouncing after waiting in the back, patiently, to hunt his prey. And that's going to be Red, our Japanese player over here, losing control of the middle as well as his own base simultaneously. Great two-pronged assault like you just said. However, Blue, meanwhile, has to pull back a little bit. His trebuchet line has been broken. The Hussars are coming in here picking them off. But I do really feel like the Slavs have the better units versus the Huns in this situation. I wonder how long Teal can keep this up.
Let's see. Well, the big thing is still that Blue had gold for such a long time, but now that's history as well. Losing all his champions in the middle, losing all the villagers, all the mining camps, TCs, and castles. Blue is trying to punish Green by the same attack by raiding him in the back as well. But this is such a crazy game. We can see like attack signs all over the whole map.
Yeah, that we can. You know, look at this Blair. Do you see this Blair? He's a 38, 7 years remaining. He's just running in circles.
Huh. Actually, yeah, Blue has somewhat of a shot, right? No, not really.
No, but it's hilarious. So he's had control of the middle with one boyar, guys, and he's been running it around the monument in a circle. with the micro of the gods almost until he accidentally misclicked and he got helped, which happens to the best of us. But that was so sick. I mean, 28 years remaining. He's threatening to pull a win out of his ass. Can he do it? What?
Well, he's still sending in some more army. If green would like misclick, oh, he gets big shots against yellow there. Let's take a look. It's 24 years, but I believe most of the army will die, and he's not sending in more, so it will probably could be cleared up here.
Yeah, that would have been the stupidest win in King of the Hill history, but there we go. All right, green finally pulls it back. Blue was really threatening to just Houdini that one, and that did not end up working out for him at all. So now green, in a very decisive situation. Yellow kind of forced to transition into some trash units to conserve gold, but he's got a really nice healthy gold mine. And meanwhile, green's base completely raided by hussars.
Yeah, that was during all the fight in the middle, and green didn't react in time at all. Lost so many villagers, now below 50, and yeah, he still has a nice army in the middle, but once this army dies, he's completely out of this game. At the moment, I feel like yellow is somewhat in a good spot, getting gold for the first time, going for hussar and skirmishers, and maybe can squeeze out some more Mangudais as well.
But here is the crucial technology that we all forgot to mention. Blue, researching cartography, 1 hour and 10 minutes in the game, I think will be decisive and win him the game.
Well, murder holds is a bit more useful for sure, but yeah, just randomly clicking it, getting some more points, doesn't really matter. Red, by the way, defended quite nicely against purple, so at the moment, who's really getting gold in the middle? Green a bit, yellow a bit, and that's it. Purple sending some more towards the middle, but people not getting all of the gold because it's so super contested.
I think green ended up bumping some hotkeys and tried to defend himself with a couple militia and also has a few militia in the middle. So I don't think that he'll be able to hold the line here only because he has no economy left whatsoever. His Vil count dropped to 19. He got owned so hard by this raid. What a great decision here by blue. I think that green's been playing great this game, but without an economy, I mean, I don't know how he's going to rebuild. He has 11 food. He can't replace any of his villagers, and he only has 19 left.
Oh man, it's so brutal for him, and yeah, now more rams coming in. Green is completely out of this game. I think he should have sent all his army back, just give up the middle there, because he's getting cleared up at the middle now, and yeah, at his home base as well, and now he's tapping out. We are down to 5 here.
I don't blame Granisss for resigning. I think he played a great game. He was one of the players that was responsible for that big reversal that we saw that got red removed from the middle. Him with the combined teamwork from everybody. But alas, there's really no way he can come back from that one without having the food to actually replace any of his lost villagers. Very decisive raid by blue. And now yellow is the player with the middle. He has the gold, which I think is very, very important, but he doesn't really have the defensive infrastructure to hold this, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, he's now going heavily onto stone as well. I would love just to see like him pulling 40 villagers from all farms and wood just to the middle and get all the resources that he wants. And yeah, he needs way more siege workshops in the middle, more stables, and if he can get all the infrastructure, I believe Mangudai of the Mongols should be the strongest unit on this map.
I definitely have to agree with you there. The elite Mangudai, a true powerhouse in late game. Corbix says he's getting flashbacks to that free-for-all Pilgrims game that I casted on my channel. Yeah, this is starting to seem like it. It's been an absolute pleasure so far. What a great game to watch. Yellow in a fairly commanding position, forcing Cheatah to grab the fletching upgrade even. It's just the fact that he has access to the Golden Stone that I think will help him out quite a bit. And maybe he can actually hold this with 70 years remaining.
Well, let's take a look. Blue's now going for the heavy raid towards yellow's base, but that's a nice castle very close by to the monument here. And 65 years, I don't really see red going for it. I don't see purple going for it. Blue is mainly raiding the home base. Teal is camping quite a bit in the middle. I believe it's looking pretty good at the moment for yellow here.
It is, but blue really threatening to destroy all of yellow's economy. So, in some sense, I expect this to be fairly all-in for him, but I think he's in the position where he could end up closing it out here. He's going to lose most of his economy, not even bothering to put his villagers inside of his town centers. But nobody is in a position to threaten him currently. They're moving in.
No one alone, but nice team communication, and now 3 people going for the middle. Blue is trying to attack. Teal will waste all his army, but that will, kill a lot of yellow's buffer here for sure. Let's take a look if red and purple are joining the forces as well. I believe they're teaming up quite nicely here, and yellow could be cleared up, although he has an incredible strong army.
Yeah, that he does. And he has that castle critically to defend himself, even remembering the masonry upgrade. Definitely gets a thumbs up from me. This is a nice, solid defense. Not necessarily excellent micro, but really, like, these units that their opponents are throwing at him just have such low pierce armor. They just get shredded. And they haven't really been able to actually touch those Mangudai, just getting killed by the castles and everything. These players need to coordinate, and they are trying to do it. Red is menacingly inching his way forward, but it's close.
This will get so close. Honestly, like, red is now going for it. What is purple? I believe purple is completely shredded at home, so he cannot really send a lot. But teal should send everything, blue should send everything. And now red's army is coming in, but I believe yellow can take this here. There's just not enough army to contest him.
I think yellow will be able to take it because the cheetah has just been declawed. There is no way that he can actually contest the middle now that he's lost most of his economy. His army will just not arrive in time. And it's just this army that's so weak against this castle. None of these players really have the gold to make the siege weapons they need to dislodge yellow from the middle. This mass halbs just isn't working, and spoiler alert, Mangudai are a good unit.
Spoiler indeed. So let's take a look. Tom is now coming in. He still doesn't have all the upgrades on his units. Now trying to close on the distance. But red and teal are actually attacking each other. Going down to 15 years here. But finally closing down the distance against all the Mangudais. But where is blue? He's sending in more rams now. 13 years only. Can he do it? He's sending in a lot of hussars and villagers. Rams from the back. 9 years left.
This is going to be such a close game. They are mopping up his army. The rams are here. They're siege rams too. That castle, it's going to go down, but I actually think yellow can do it. 5 years remaining.
Oh, he still has like 25 units there. Why are they typing GG? I believe they should just try to fight this down. 3 years. It looks like yellow will do it rather than 22.
It was such a great game to cast with you today, Nilpferd. What a close game by yellow. That is it. Congratulations, Ornlu, on seizing a narrow but impressive victory.
Yeah, and his points pretty much in the middle there. Not the most fighting guy there, but yeah, he saved a lot of gold, got completely raided at home, and then went for the one deciding push when red went against purple. Teal never got really onto it, and blue just was licking his wounds from killing green before.
Yeah, that was just a fantastic game to watch. Wow. With plenty of twists, too. I think that a few people expected red to actually lose control there at just the last moment, and that really was such a nail-biter there from yellow. Congratulations, Ornlu. I think all the players here played great, and this is just a super entertaining game to cast. What a pleasure to be here today, Nilpferd. Thank you for inviting me. I hope you all enjoyed this. And if you did, you better stick around, because Nilpferd's not done with King of the Hippo. Oh, no, he's not. Qualifier number 5 coming up after this, and then for those of you who are watching live, tomorrow on Sunday, it's going to be qualifier 6, 7, 8, and the grand finals. So make sure that you all stay tuned for that, and I really hope you enjoyed our co-casting.
Thank you so much. I need a new emote. Instead of nearly sellout, I need nearly resonance there.
It's always a pleasure, always a pleasure. I'm gonna sign off, everybody, and get ready for my own stream. This is a great game. I'll post this on my own YouTube page later. And don't forget to subscribe to Nilpferd on Twitch. It's 50% off. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's 50% off. Qualifier number 5 coming up. Wow, are we actually going to be kind of almost on schedule for that because this game wasn't that long? Nice.
22 minutes late for now.
Not too bad. All right, toodles, everybody.
We get to catch up.
It was a pleasure, and I'll see you around, Nilpferd.
For sure.
GG.
Thank you so much, mate.